Well, we hope there's going to be one in LaPorte. Not coming along as quick as I'd like for them to, because I'm just turned 80 years old, and if they don't build it pretty quick, I may not be around to enjoy it, you know. We all have a lifespan of a certain amount of years on this earth, and my family's been dying off in their 80s, so I'm on borrowed time. If they don't build it pretty quick, I may not be around to participate. It's about 8-9 miles from where the original GILLEY'S was located at. They tell me it's going to be a big complex, and GILLEY'S Club is going to be included in it. I don't know how they're going to run it. I'm not running it. They're just going to use the name GILLEY'S on it. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to be running a nightclub. I'm selling my theater in Branson. In fact, I closed on January the 3rd, and I'm back on the road traveling with the band. I got a 7-piece band, 2 girl singers, and we're doing road dates. I'm getting ready to go to Nebraska this next weekend, and then I'm going to Oklahoma, then I'm going to Florida. So I'm staying quite busy just traveling around the country myself. We have a GILLEY'S at Treasure Island. We have one in Pensacola, Oklahoma, one in Durant, Oklahoma, one in Dallas, and hopefully we'll get this one built in LaPorte. It's got the GILLEY logo on it. Just keep the brand name out there. I'm not operating any of them. I go in every now and then and, you know, maybe walk on stage and sing a song or something and say, "Welcome to GILLEY'S," and they send me a little money from my mailbox. These guys are almost as old as I am. They're all on wheelchairs and walking canes. No, I'm the oldest one in the group at 80. I'm still walking, but not walking very well. But I tell the people, I said, you know, when I walk out on stage, I said, just turned 80. Hope I look like I'm 50. I'm walking like I'm 90. But my voice is holding up. I'm still singing the songs. The country music fans give me 17 #1 recordings in my career, and I try to do the majority of them for them. And I try to tell them a couple of stupid jokes. I call them corny jokes, and keep them, you know, involved in the performance. And I've been having a great time. I got out of the business world, so to speak, and back in performing and entertaining. I went and bought a couple of buses. I didn't think I'd ever own another bus again after when I went to Branson, but it's fun to go take the music back to the people instead of having the people come to hear the music in Branson. I was there for 26 years. I was the last man standing. I outlasted Mel Tillis, Tony Orlando, Bobby Vinton, Wayne Newton, Charlie Pride. Boxcar Willie died, and Andy Williams died. But to cap it all off, I was the last man that left, and that was this year. Well, you know, the incredible thing about the new CD that I just released called "Kicking It Down the Road," there's a song on there called "Tell It Like It Used to Be" that I recorded the same time that T. Graham Brown did. And mine's a little bit different because it's got a saxophone in it that my band leader played the sax ride on it, and I think it turned out quite well. When T. Graham Brown came with it, I was recorded at the same time, and all of a sudden, one of the radio technicians from Houston came in and said, "Well, that song just came out," and sure enough, it was T. Graham Brown. He had a #1 song with "Tell It Like It Used to Be." But it's on this CD. Kicking It Down the Road. That's the old song. Remember me when the candle lights are gleaming? Funny story about that. One of my girl singers, her family was in the Cadillac business, and when I brought them in to do the vocal overdubs on the song, she was singing "Remember Me When the Cadillacs Were Gleaming." And my other girls heard, said, "Did you say Cadillac?" She said, "Well, that's what he said." When he said, "No, it's candlelights."
I love your.
The buses are better.
Is that the only thing?
The ride's better, but now we got direct TV, you know, and we got a satellite that'll, you know, we can watch television on the bus now. Back then we had to use VHS tapes and things like that, you know. So it's a lot more comfortable with the new units. Not a lot of difference in the audience. They've gotten older, like I have. The people that we usually draw the audience and the audience are the people that listen to other things in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And a lot of the fans have come to Branson to see me in Branson, you know. I worked with a guy 17 years that he died. He lost his life to colon cancer at 43 years old. And I tell the story sometimes when when I got plenty of time on the show. I tell them, I said, you know what? I said, I'm very fortunate to still be with you folks. I said, because I've endured heart surgery, brain surgery, back surgery. My appendix exploded, and I've had walked away from 2 airplane crashes. But I've learned how to live now. I'm eating 9 Lives cat food. I just try to keep it light, you know.
So is that the
I
secret?
try to have fun. I try to have fun with the audience by telling them some, crazy things, that's happening on the road with us, and to keep them a smile on their face. When you got people laughing and smiling, they forget their troubles. And I tell them a joke on my friend Johnny Lee, and I said, Johnny Lee was raised on a farm. I said, I found this out in the '60s, and I said, he comes down one morning for breakfast, and he asks his mom, he says, Mom, I'm ready for breakfast. She said, now, Johnny, you don't get any food until you do your chores. Well, it made Johnny mad, so he reaches down, and he says, grabs a bucket of grain, he goes out the back door, and he starts feeding the chickens. One of the chickens gets close to him, so he kicks the chicken. And his mom was watching him through the back door, And he goes over to the pig pen, starts feeding the pigs. One of the pigs gets up close to the fence, and so he kicked the pig through the fence. And then he walks over to the barnyard, and he starts feeding the cow, and the cow squishes his tail and hits him in the face. And so he kicked the cow. In fact, he was so mad, he said, I think I'll just kick him again. He kicked him a second time. And he comes back in, and he sits down at the breakfast table, and his mama serves him a bowl of cereal without any milk in it. And he says, come on, Mom, this is not what I usually have for breakfast. She said, Johnny, I was watching you out there. When you kick that chicken, for your punishment, you get no eggs for a week. And then you kick that pig, that means you get no bacon to go with the eggs for a week. And then you kick that cow. That means you get no milk to go in that cereal. You're going to have to eat that cereal dry for a week. His dad comes downstairs, trips, and kicks the cat, and he looks up at his mom and says, you want to tell him or you want me to tell him? And I tell him I'm not going to explain that one. I started off with a stupid fishing joke, though. An old boy was out on his boat on Table Rock Lake there in Branson, and the game warden pulls up beside his boat and says, need to see some fishing license. The old boy says, what do you need to see fishing license for? You don't see a net, you don't see a pole, do you? He says, no, but I see that you got fish in your boat. And he said, let me tell you something, sir. These fish in this boat, I raised at home. Usually the crowd will kind of chuckle a bit. He said, you're not going to believe this, but I bring them out here once a week to Table Rock Lake and let them swim for exercise. He said, then when they get through swimming, I call them and they come and get back in the boat and I take them back home with me. The game warden said, you don't think I'm going to believe that, do you? He said, I don't care whether you believe it or not. It's true. He says, good, drop the fish back in the lake. So he dumps the fish back in the lake. They're gone, And he says, okay, you can call them back. Now he says, call what back? So I tell that one first, and then I tell him, I said, I told that joke in Colorado at a casino, and some lady in the back room, she says, I don't get it. I said, you got rid of the evidence. Hello? Then I tell the Johnny joke. Then I tell him, I said, I'm not going to explain that one. No, I just came in to visit. I don't expect anything. I just came in to thank y'all for carrying the Gilley product and to keep the brand name out there for the old man here. I appreciate that. Well, I got kind of excited about the fact that when I did the show with the American Pickers.
Oh,
Did you say that?
That's right. I forgot about that.
I lived long enough to make the History Channel. Hello. Now they came in and did the thing with me, and I sold them a lot of empty beer cans. I sold them a Gilley beer sign, a lot of paraphernalia from the old club. maybe we ought to try to reissue the beer. And so we found that the No Label Brewing Company out in Katy decided they would make it for us, and so we put the beer back on the market, and it's doing, it's not setting the world on fire, but it's doing pretty good, which is kind of exciting to have to have it back out there. It's a much better beer than what we had before.
Yeah.
I will say that, and we're just keeping the names out there, with the T-shirts and the paraphernalia that we have. The food line that my nephew is carrying, we got the chili mix, which is a good chili mix, and the marinades and the beer. He's got the food line, and I always continue to push the Gilley brand everywhere we go. the hill is amazing. I can't get my. Hey, you see that picture right there?
Yeah.
I can't get my leg up that high anymore. I thought that was a sort of a unique picture because when I found that song out in the Carolinas, I was working at the Don Gibson Theater in North Carolina, and this guy handed me a CD and it had that "Kicking It Down the Road" on it, and I fell in love with the song. So I called him and I said, "I'd like to record that." Then I got the idea. I said, "You know what? I'll just release another CD and put some music on it," and I think it's got some pretty interesting songs on here. I mean, some of them have been around for quite a while, but Added Up, Added Up reminded me a little bit of The Girls Getting Pretty Close in Time because it talked about the number system. I've had my share of 1, 2, 3. You look like a 10 to me.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting and entertaining to have something similar to The Girls Getting Pretty, because The Girls Get Pretty Close in Time is one of the most played records I ever had.
Was it really?
The girls all get pretty close in time. It's played probably more than any song that I've ever recorded, including "Stand By Me."
Oh, really?
Troy Payne, who has got my complete library on all the music, because he came in and saw my tapes and things in my office, and he took them and had them digitalized, so we could preserve them, because I was going to lose them on tape. And so he takes the things over, and he found some of the material that the majority of the material that's on this CD. He's the one that brought it to me, and we decided we'd make a CD out of some of it, and that's one of the songs, Abilene, that I cut back in 1973 when I cut "Roomful of Roses." I cut 4 songs on that particular recording session. I cut "She Called Me Baby All Night Long," "Roomful of Roses," Abilene, and "Two Worlds Collide." The version of "Two Worlds Collide" is a version that I want to come with on the next CD, because it's really different than anything that I've done in quite some time, and it's written by Roger Miller. That's what happens when two worlds collide. I recorded that on the same time I recorded "Roomful of Roses," but the version that I'm going to come with was the one I cut in Nashville. In the beginning, when "Roomful of Roses" hit, we looked for songs that were similar to that song, like when I cut "Overlooked an Orchid." And then the producer in Nashville asked me, he said, some of the tunes you played in the clubs down there in Houston. And I said, I did "City Lights," I did "The Wind Up Above." We cut both those. They became #1 for me. And then we got an original piece of material called "She's Pulling Me Back Again" that Foster and Rice wrote, which were good writers in Nashville. And I sat at the piano and worked a version of it up, and it became a #1 single for me. And then we went back to the material that I had performed in the clubs, was "Bring It On Home." But I sat down at the piano and rearranged the way that I was doing it in the club, and did the "Bring It On Home," and it became single record of the year in 1977 at the Academy of Country Music Awards show in Los Angeles. So, and then we found "The Girls Get Pretty Close in Time," and I took the song out and played it for my friend Conway Twitty, and Conway said, "No, I don't think you need to do this song." And I said, "Why?" And he says, "Don't you know that the ladies buy the most records?" And I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, he said, you're putting them down talking about them getting better looking at closing time." I said, "Yeah, but my drinking buddies love this song because it's a true story." So I recorded it, and sure enough, it goes #1. And then when it went #1, the girls started requesting me doing "The Girls Get Pretty Close in Time," it dawned on me the guys started looking better than them at closing time.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't pay a lot of attention to other people's music. I'll be honest with you. I don't have any way to. They ask me about the music today, and I tell them anytime that an artist can go in and fill up a football stadium, they got something working for them. I don't try to. It's not my type. It's not my cup of tea. But when I was growing up, I mean, I listened to Hank Williams and Webb Pierce and people of that status, Roy Acuff and. All the people that were Ernest Tubb, all those people coming up at that time is what we used to listen to as kids. Me and Jimmy and Jerry. When I mention Jimmy and Jerry, I'm talking about Jerry Lee Lewis and Reverend Jimmy Swaggart because we're cousins. I mean, we grew up together, and that's what we used to listen to. We used to listen to Hank Williams, you know, and Hank Thompson and all those people on the jukebox, and these people that are recording today. I mean, I understand George Strait's music, and I understand a little bit of Garth Brooks. Not all of it, but some of it, because I thought he was a good artist. But some of these other acts out there, I don't hear it. But they can fill a stadium up, and I applaud them for that. That's amazing.